My fiancée thought her childhood friend was harmless. He wasn't. And my vengeance was sweet. I'm still reeling from everything that happened, and honestly, I just need to get this off my chest and see if I'm the crazy one, or if I handled it all appropriately. This is going to be long, so bear with me. My fiancée, Sarah, and I have been together for 5 wonderful years, engaged for 1. We were planning our dream wedding, saving up, and genuinely excited for our future. We have a beautiful home, 2 dogs, and a life that, until recently, I thought was pretty perfect. Sarah is kind, intelligent, and has always been incredibly loyal, or so I believed. The catalyst for this entire disaster was Mark, Sarah's childhood friend. They'd known each other since kindergarten. He was always around, even when we first started dating. I never thought much of it. He was part of her past, a harmless fixture. He was a bit of a drifter, never really settling down, jumping from one low-paying job to another, always crashing on someone's couch. Sarah, being the empathetic person she is, often let him stay with us for a few days when he was between places, which seemed to happen every few months. I tolerated it because it made her happy, and he was generally polite, if a little socially awkward. I set clear boundaries. No more than 3 days, he had to help with chores, and no overnight guests for him. Sarah always agreed, and he usually abided. Things started to shift subtly about 6 months ago. Mark's visits became more frequent, and the 3 days often stretched to 4 or 5. Sarah would make excuses, saying he was having a particularly rough time, or that he really needed a win. I voiced my discomfort, gently at first, then more firmly. I told her it felt like he was taking advantage of her kindness, and by extension, mine. She'd get defensive, claiming I was being uncharitable, that Mark was like a brother to her, and that I should trust her judgment. I did trust her, so I tried to let it go, but an uneasy feeling began to settle in my stomach. Then came the special project. Mark, who claimed to be an aspiring artist, though I'd never seen any of his work, told Sarah he had a huge commission, a mural for a new restaurant downtown. The problem was, he needed a quiet, dedicated space to work, and his current couch surfing situation wasn't conducive to creativity. Sarah, without consulting me, offered him our guest room for a month. When she told me, I was furious. A month. That was completely out of line. We had discussed a maximum of 3 days. She argued that this was different, a huge opportunity for Mark, and that he'd be out of our hair once the mural was done. She promised he would contribute to groceries and help around the house. I reluctantly agreed, mainly because I didn't want to fight with her, and part of me felt guilty for not wanting to support her friend. I told her, explicitly, that this was a one-time thing, and if he overstayed his welcome or caused any problems, he was out. She swore it wouldn't be an issue. It was an issue. From day one, Mark moved in with an astonishing amount of clutter, canvases, paints, easels, dirty clothes, and half-eaten food containers. The guest room, once a tidy, inviting space, quickly became a biohazard. He rarely left the house, claiming he needed to focus. He spent most of his time locked in the room, emerging only for food or to complain about the temperature. He never contributed to groceries, nor did he help with chores. If anything, he created more. Dirty dishes piled up in the sink, towels were left on the bathroom floor, and the faint smell of paint thinner permeated the house. I spoke to Sarah. Repeatedly. Each time, she'd assure me she'd talk to him, that he was just stressed with the project, and that he'd shape up. He never did. My patience wore thin. Our home, my sanctuary, felt invaded. My privacy was gone. I felt like a stranger in my own house. Arguments between Sarah and me became more frequent, centered entirely around Mark. One evening, I came home to find Mark sprawled on our living room couch, watching television, with Sarah bringing him a plate of food. He barely acknowledged me. Sarah gave me a tight smile, sensing my anger. Later, I confronted her. He's treating this like a hotel, Sarah. He's disrespectful, messy, and is driving a wedge between us. She sighed. He's going through a lot. You're being insensitive. This mural means everything to him. And what about us? Our relationship? Does that mean nothing? I demanded. She looked away. Of course not. Just give him a little more time. Please. It's almost done. He's been here for 5 weeks, Sarah. The 1 month is long over. What exactly is almost done? I asked, frustration rising. She stammered. He ran into a few creative blocks. But it's really, really close now. A few more days, maybe a week, tops. I was tired. So incredibly tired of the excuses. I told her, fine, 1 more week. If he's not out by then, I'm going to have to make him leave. She looked shocked, but nodded. He'll be gone, she promised. That week was pure hell. Mark continued his slovenly habits. I avoided him as much as possible, retreating to my office or going out for long walks. Sarah seemed to be spending more and more time with him in the guest room, collaborating on the mural. I tried to ignore the knot of suspicion in my stomach. They were childhood friends. Brothers and sisters don't generally have affairs, right? Then came the incident with my engagement ring. It wasn't a particularly flashy ring, but it was custom designed and had immense sentimental value. My grandmother's diamond, set in a unique platinum band that I had worked with a jeweler to create. I usually kept it in a small jewelry box on my nightstand. One morning, I went to put it on and it wasn't there. I searched everywhere. My heart pounded. I tore apart the bedroom, then the bathroom, then the living room. Nothing. I was starting to panic. Sarah was at work. Mark was, of course, in the guest room. I tried to tell myself it was just misplaced, that I'd find it. But a chilling thought slithered into my mind. When Sarah got home, I tried to be calm. Honey, have you seen my ring? The engagement ring. Her eyes widened. No. Oh my God, where could it be? She joined the frantic search. After an hour, with no luck, I suggested, maybe we should ask Mark. He's been in and out of our room, sometimes, when he uses our bathroom. Sarah immediately bristled. No, you can't accuse him. He would never. He's my friend. I'm not accusing, I'm asking. It's gone, Sarah, and he's the only other person who's been in our bedroom in the last few days. I yelled, my calm facade shattering. She stood her ground. You are being completely unfair. He has nothing to do with this. The argument escalated into a full-blown fight. She accused me of being paranoid, of having a vendetta against Mark. I accused her of being blind, of prioritizing her deadbeat friend over our relationship, and now, over my stolen property. We went to bed angry, the ring still missing. The next day, while Sarah was at work, I decided I couldn't wait. I needed to know. I knew Mark often went out for cigarettes in the afternoon. When I saw him leave, I decided to do something I never thought I'd do. I went into his room. The smell of stale sweat and paint was overwhelming. The room was a disaster zone. Piles of clothes, empty food containers, canvases propped against the walls. I started searching, not really knowing what I was looking for. Under a pile of dirty clothes, I found a small, velvet jewelry pouch. It wasn't mine. I opened it. Inside, nestled amongst some cheap costume jewelry, was my engagement ring. My blood ran cold. He had it. He actually had it. My mind reeled. Why? Why would he take it? And why would Sarah defend him so fiercely? A terrible realization began to dawn on me, one I had pushed away for weeks. I took the ring, put it back in its box, and hid it in a safe place. Then, I installed a hidden camera in the guest room, discreetly tucked away where it wouldn't be noticed. I had a sickening feeling I was about to find out more than just why he took my ring. I spent the rest of the day in a haze of disbelief and dread. That evening, I pretended everything was normal. Sarah was relieved I wasn't bringing up the ring. Mark was his usual surly self. I went to bed, but I didn't sleep. I stayed up, watching the live feed from the camera on my phone. What I saw shattered me. Around midnight, Sarah, in her pajamas, quietly slipped into the guest room. Mark was already there. They embraced, not like friends, but like lovers. They kissed, a long, passionate kiss that left no doubt. My fiancée, the woman I loved and trusted, was having an affair with her childhood friend, under my roof. In the guest room I had grudgingly allowed him to occupy. I watched, frozen, as they undressed. I watched as they lay together in the bed, in my bed, the bed that was meant for guests, for our friends, not for this betrayal. The images burned into my mind, searing pain through my chest. The world tilted. Everything I thought I knew about our relationship, about Sarah, about our future, crumbled into dust that I didn't stop watching until they were asleep, intertwined. I felt a cold, calculating rage settle over me. The pain was still there, a raw wound, but it was now overshadowed by a burning desire for retribution that I spent the rest of the night planning. I didn't wake Sarah. I didn't confront Mark. I acted as if nothing had happened. I went to work the next day, a robot. My mind was racing, formulating a strategy. I needed to gather more evidence, secure my assets, and then I would unleash hell. First, I downloaded all the video footage from the camera. I had undeniable proof. Then, I called my lawyer, discreetly. I explained the situation, omitting some of the more painful details, focusing on the theft of the ring and the breach of trust. My lawyer advised me to change the locks on the house immediately, effective the moment I decided to act. He also advised me to move any joint funds into a separate, secure account, which I had already begun doing over the past few weeks due to other unrelated financial planning. That evening, I went home. Sarah was already there, acting cheerful, asking about my day. Mark was, predictably, in his room. I told Sarah I needed to run to the hardware store for something. I drove there, bought new locks, and installed them on all the doors and windows, including the guest room door, ensuring it could only be opened from the outside. I then replaced my engagement ring in the jewelry box on my nightstand that I returned home, feigning exhaustion. Sarah made dinner. Mark emerged, grunting a greeting. We ate in strained silence, at least on my part. I could feel Sarah's gaze on me, trying to gauge my mood. After dinner, I went to our bedroom and pretended to work on my laptop. Around 10 p.m., Sarah went to the bathroom to get ready for bed. This was my moment that I walked to the guest room and knocked firmly. Mark opened the door, looking surprised. "Mark, we need to talk," I said, my voice calm, almost eerily so. "What about?" he mumbled, rubbing his eyes. "About this," I said, holding up my phone, which was displaying a still frame from the video footage. Sarah and him kissing passionately in the guest room bed. His eyes widened in horror. He gasped, his face draining of color. What is that?" "You know exactly what that is," I said, my voice like ice. "That's you and my fiancée, in my house, in my bed. That's betrayal. That's disgust. And that's the end of your stay here." He stammered. I can explain." "There's nothing to explain," I cut him off. "Get your things. You have exactly 15 minutes. If you're not out by then, I'm calling the police and reporting you for trespassing and theft." I paused, then added, "Oh, and don't forget my engagement ring. It's back in its box. Funny how it reappeared, isn't it?" His jaw dropped. He looked like a deer caught in headlights. He knew he was caught, but he started frantically grabbing his belongings, stuffing them into various bags. While he was doing that, I walked over to the guest room door, the one I had just installed a new lock on, and locked it from the outside. He was now trapped, but I waited outside, watching the clock. Sarah emerged from the bathroom, looking confused. "What's going on?" she asked, seeing Mark scrambling in the guest room and me standing outside the door. "What's going on, Sarah?" I said, turning to her, my voice still dangerously calm. "Is that your loving childhood friend, your brother, your secret lover, is being evicted. And you're next." Her face went from confusion to shock to absolute terror. "What are you talking about?" she whispered, her eyes wide. "I'm talking about this," I said, showing her the same footage on my phone. "I saw everything, Sarah. Everything. The stolen ring, the lies, the betrayal. The nights you spent with him in here, while I was in our bed, oblivious." She let out a choked cry, covering her mouth with her hand. No, please, you don't understand." "Oh, I understand perfectly," I said. "I understand that the woman I was going to marry, the woman I trusted with my life, lied to me, cheated on me, and then defended the man who stole from me. I understand that our relationship is over. Our engagement is over. Our life together is over." She started to cry, real, gut-wrenching sobs. "Please, no. I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. A mistake." I scoffed, a bitter laugh escaping me. "This wasn't a mistake, Sarah. This was a calculated, prolonged act of deceit. You chose him. You chose to disrespect me, to humiliate me, to shatter everything we built." Mark, still trapped in the guest room, began to bang on the door. "Let me out. She's lying. She forced me," he screamed. Sarah looked at him with disdain, then back at me. "He's an idiot. Please, listen to me. I'm not listening to anything, I said, cutting her off. You have 2 hours to pack your things. Anything that is clearly yours, take it. Anything joint, stays. Anything of mine, stays. If you're not out by then, I'm calling the police and having you both removed for trespassing, and I will press charges for theft. I have the footage. Don't test me. I walked away from her, leaving her sobbing in the hallway. I went to the living room and sat on the couch, watching the clock. My hands were shaking, but my resolve was firm. The pain was still there, but it was mixed with a powerful sense of righteous fury. Mark continued to bang on the guest room door, screaming obscenities, trying to manipulate Sarah, then me. I ignored him. Sarah, through her tears, started gathering her belongings, throwing them haphazardly into suitcases. She kept trying to talk to me, to apologize, to beg, but I simply stared straight ahead, a wall of ice. After about an hour and a half, she came out, her eyes red and swollen, a few bags at her feet. I'm ready, she choked out. Good, I said, not looking at her. Now, for your friend. I unlocked the guest room door. Mark stumbled out, looking disheveled and terrified. You can leave now, Mark, I said. And if I ever see you near my house again, or near Sarah, I'm calling the police. Understood? He nodded, speechless. He slunk out the front door, Sarah following him, her head bowed in shame that I watched them go, not a single tear shed. The silence in the house was deafening after they left. It was over. 5 years, gone. Our future, evaporated that I spent the next few days in a daze, cleaning the guest room, clearing out Sarah's belongings, and processing the emotional fallout. My lawyer was already preparing the necessary paperwork for breaking the engagement and dissolving any remaining joint assets. He assured me I had a strong case if Sarah decided to fight anything. A week later, Sarah called me, begging to talk, to explain, to reconcile. I refused. There's nothing left to say, Sarah. You made your choices. I'm making mine. She sent me a long, desperate email detailing how Mark had manipulated her, how she regretted everything, how much she loved me. I read it, but it elicited no response. The betrayal was too deep. The trust was irreparably broken. About a month after everything, I received a text from a mutual friend. Apparently, Mark was still couch surfing, but now he was completely ostracized from their mutual friend group. Sarah was living with her parents, devastated, and her reputation was in tatters. The mural. It never happened. He had apparently scammed the restaurant owner out of an advance and never delivered. I didn't feel happy about their misfortunes. Not exactly. But I didn't feel bad either. I felt a sense of calm, of justice served. I had protected myself, my home, and my future. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I could breathe again. I'm still picking up the pieces, still healing, but I know I did the right thing. I look at my ring on my nightstand now, and instead of pain, I feel a sense of empowerment. It's a reminder of what I lost, yes, but also a reminder of my strength and the sweet, sweet taste of knowing I reclaimed my life. Did I know this was incredibly long, but I needed to get it all out? Am I the asshole? Or did I handle this in the most effective, albeit brutal, way possible? I'm ready for your judgments. Reddit.